Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. That's all praise to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son. We are the Hebrew Israelites of the SICARII set out in Phoenix. And I'm going to go into a short little video about Christmas and how it's, not only is it wicked, but it's pagan. So if it's pagan, then it's most definitely wicked. So therefore, you should not be celebrating Christmas, right? Because there's a multitude of things that are done and are, just the customs and the traditions of Christmas is just traditions of men and, sun worship and things of that nature. And as Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you should not be doing this, right? So, the first scripture, main scripture, we're going to get into, let me get Jeremiah 10.
Okay.
We're going to get it first. Right, because this particular scripture right here basically breaks it down word for word, right? Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 10 from the top.
Yeah, from the top.
Okay. Hear ye the word which the Lord spake again unto you, O house of Israel.
Right, go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord,
right?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Now listen, now it says, learn not the way of the heathen, right? So we're supposed to do what the Most High tells us to do. Now hold that, let me get 1 Kings 2. I think it's 1 Kings 2. Yeah, let me get 1 Kings 2 and 3.
1 Kings 2 and 3.
Yeah. So we're not supposed to be doing what the heathen does, right? But we're supposed to do what the Most High tells us to do. I'm just going to expound on it.
First Kings 2, First Kings chapter 2, verse 3.
Okay.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God.
Right, keep this charge, right, go ahead.
To walk in his ways.
Walk in his ways, right, go ahead.
To keep his statutes. And his commandments. And his judgments. And his testimonies. As it is written in the law of Moses.
Right, so all these things, right, we're supposed to do. Specifically written in the law of Moses, right? The Most High's law that he gave Moses, right? To give to the children of Israel, right? We're supposed to do those things, right? Keep his charge, right? Now go back to Jeremiah 10, Bible show.
Okay.
Right, let me just kind of break it down because, this is a very simple verse, you know what I'm saying? You can just read it and get the understanding, but once you try to tell people, Christmas is wicked and it's pagan, man, they can't even do 10 minutes of research online to figure out that it is indeed pagan and wicked, right? And as Hebrew Israelites, you're not supposed to be doing none of that, right? Go ahead and start off at verse 2.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Right, go ahead.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Right, so we're not supposed to be dismayed at the signs of heaven, right? What's in the heavens, right? The sun, moon, and the stars, right? So these heathens, man, they look up in the sky and they're dismayed at them, right? They're troubled, or they may look at them and worship, the sun, moon, and the stars, right? And in this particular, when it comes to Christmas, right? It's the winter solstice, right? So the winter solstice is around, you would say, December 7th through like the 23rd, but the times change, right? But, right, it says they look up at this, the heavens and are dismayed, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 4. Deuteronomy 4:19. Right, because a lot of these like particularly Christmas, right? These practices and these traditions, we take those from the Romans, and they've actually taken a lot of those traditions and practices from other nations also. So therefore, all of this is all pagan, right? Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 19.
Right.
And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven.
Right, you look up in the skies, right? Go ahead.
And when thou seest the sun.
Right, the sun.
And the moon.
And the moon.
And the stars.
And the stars. So the main thing we're looking at is the sun, right? Go ahead.
Even all the hosts of heaven.
All the hosts of heaven, right? Go ahead.
Should us be driven to worship them?
Right. Are we to be driven to worship them? No, we're not. Go ahead.
And serve them.
And serve them, right? And we just finished reading the verse in 1 Kings how we're supposed to keep the Most High's charges, right? Go ahead.
Which the Lord thy God have divided unto all nations under the whole heaven.
Right. So all of these things were, divided upon the all nations, right? So these nations, they may look up in the sky and they may worship them, but us as Hebrew Israelites, we're not supposed to do that, right? Let me see. Now let me get the information that's on the phone, but we're gonna stay in Jeremiah 10. You just click it. Now we just talked about how they look up in the sky and they're dismayed at what's in the heavens, right? Mainly at this time, it's the winter solstice, right? So the sun is when it comes. The winter solstice is when the sun starts to come back, right? So it's closer, so the days get longer, right? So, but basically, what I'm explaining is that Christmas is sun worship, right? What at the end of the day, it's basically sun worship. Go ahead, read that.
Sun worship formed the basis of Mithraism.
Right. Now, Mithraism is basically a tradition that was taken, that the ancient Romans took from the Persians, right? It was basically like a sun god, right? So they had traditions that the Persians did that the Romans also took from that. They may have, changed a little bit, whatever, but it's literally the same thing. It's literally a god that they praised or worshipped right around that time, right? Go ahead.
Zoroastrianism,
right?
Other Roman religions, and many other pagan traditions.
Okay, keep going.
It is the reason Sunday is a holy day in many religions.
Right, so they think Sunday is like a holy day because at the end of the day it's sun worship, right? They're worshiping the sun, right? Go ahead.
And why major festivals are held at spring and at the solstice.
Right, keep going.
The real meaning of Christmas is sun worship.
The real meaning of Christmas is sun worship. So we're not supposed to be doing none of this, man. Christmas is wicked as all hell, man. But you know how people like to say, you can drop that. Let me get Isaiah 3:12. So a lot of Christmas, a lot of parents, they got their kids, right? They're like, oh, well, even when you tell them that what this is wrong and it's wicked and it's pagan, right? They're like, well, I do it for the kids. Well, listen, man, you're being wicked for your damn kids, man, and you're gonna be destroyed for that because you're going off and you're not doing what the Most High wants you to do, right? Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12.
Right.
As for my people, children are their oppressors.
Children are their oppressors, man. You damn near your kids is running your damn life just so you can please. You committing idolatry, right, and therefore committing adultery, right? By doing or committing or so I can't remember the word, but you're basically doing the ways of the heathen, right? So you got the kids. You don't want your kids to be mad or sad or whatever, or feel left out. So you have your kids. You doing all this for your kids. Your kids are oppressing you. Keep going.
And women rule over them.
Right. Keep going.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
Right. So you doing this just for your kids' sake, for the sake of your kids, is causing you to err, right? Let me get Proverbs 3:31, I think it is.
Okay.
Right. So, just like in America, we're in America right now, right? We're under the oppressed state of the so-called white man, right? And they're basically like stem of the Roman Empire, right? Just broken off, right? So they have customs of these other nations, right? So this is an oppressor of ours, right? So read that.
Proverbs chapter 3 verse 31.
Right.
Envy thou not the oppressor.
Envy not your oppressor, right? Go ahead.
And choose none of his ways.
And choose none of his ways. So literally we're not supposed to be doing none of this stuff, man. Like I said earlier, we're supposed to be keeping the charge of the Most High, right? let me go back to Jeremiah 3. I mean, it's like Jeremiah 10 and 3. Yeah, we're going to start at 3. So we can just get the understanding, right? So we understand that now that we have an understanding that, Christmas is considered to be sun worship, right? So now we're going to get the act of the Christmas tree, right? Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 3.
Right.
For the customs of the people are vain.
Right, so the customs of the people are vain, right? These other nations, man, they are literally worthless. They mean nothing, right? Go ahead.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
Right, one cutteth a tree out of the forest is basically a custom that these other nations used to do, and it's if you do your history, it's not just like a Germanic, like German or whatever. Like they would go out and they cut an evergreen tree because at this time when it's snowing, these trees thrive, right? So they will go out and cut a tree, right? Go ahead.
The work of the hands of the workmen,
right,
with the axe.
Right, so they go out and they cut these trees with axes, man. And around this time, Christmas time, you can just be driving around and then there's like little, sections off at the corner of the street and they got Christmas trees and all this other madness, right? Keep going.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
They deck it with silver and gold. That sure as hell sounds like a damn Christmas tree to me, man. Like people got the damn Christmas tree in their houses right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They got the lights, they got the little stupid little ornaments and the lights and the glitter, and they got the damn probably got Christmas presents already underneath there, right? And that also was a custom of the Saturnalia, right? They gave gifts, they partied, they sang and all types of things, right? So the traditions of these wicked pagan traditions were implemented into what you know as Christmas right now. Therefore, it is pagan, sun worship, pagan. It's all boiling down to a big pot of wickedness, right? And the Most High does not like that, right? Keep going.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers,
right?
That it move not.
That this Christmas tree, it's not going anywhere, right? So they just hammer it with nails so it stays stationary. We're just gonna read to the end of 4. That was the end of 4.
God.
All right. So listen. At the end of the day, Christmas is wicked, right? So we're just gonna get some more scripture. Let me get so listen, you can't serve the Most High, right, and be doing these what these so-called holidays, or how I like to call them, folly days, because it's all foolishness, right? It's all foolishness to the Most High, and it should be foolishness to you. Let me get Matthew 6:24. So like Matthew 6:24.
Matthew 6:24.
Right. Because you can't serve the Most High and serve these other guys or anything like that, right? You can't serve two masters, man. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters.
Right.
For either he will hate the one.
He would hate the one.
And love the other.
So, what I'm saying, there's not going to be a balance. And we all know the Most High deals with balance, right? A false balance is an abomination to the Most High. So you can't love, celebrating Christmas and then say you love the Most High when you're being wicked and you're not being righteous. You know what I'm saying? You're either gonna be like, oh damn, my kids, I gotta do this for my kids, or serve the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Is there more than that? Can I keep going?
Or else he will hold to the one,
right,
and despise the other.
Exactly. So you're either gonna lean to one side and not the other. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna life or death. Evil, righteousness. You know what I'm saying? This is basically what's going on. Let me get James 1:8. You got 1:8? Yeah, cut. I got like 2 more scriptures after that.
James chapter 1 verse 8.
Right.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Right. So you're gonna be completely unstable, man. You're gonna be like I keep saying, like I said, man. You're doing this for your kids, basically. At the end of the day, you may not think it's anything, but damn, my kids is gonna feel man. So what? If you're doing what the Most High wants you to do, you're better off. Let me get Colossians 2. Actually, let me get 1 Corinthians 10 and 21. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to just keep reiterating about, doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. You can't lean to one side and forget the other, or, you're just gonna, it just calls for destruction, man. It's not a balance. There's no balance in this. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 21. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord.
Right.
And the cup of devils.
Right. Go ahead.
Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table.
Right.
And of the table of devils.
Right. So like you know what I'm saying? You can't love one thing and then love this. You're gonna lean to one and hate the other at the end of the day. Now let me get Colossians 2 and 8, and that's gonna be the last one we go through, because at the end of the day, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, man, it's all traditions of men. You know what I'm saying? And it's all, the majority of them at the end of the day are pagan. And it's wicked, and it's against the Most High, and us as Hebrew Israelites, we're not supposed to be doing none of that stuff. Go ahead.
Colossians chapter 2, verse 8.
Right.
Beware lest any man spoil you
right.
through philosophy
right.
and vain deceit.
Exactly. Go ahead.
After the traditions of men.
After the traditions of men, and literally not after the ways of the Most High, which we said are you keeping His charge. Basically, what He wants you to do, the law, statutes, commandments, man. And with that, say shalom.
Shalom.